Hi, I'm Mike Moore, Practice Development Manager here at Insight with our Network and Integrated Security practice. So I think we can all admit that the past year has been pretty unique for all of us. There's some interesting challenges we've had with work from home, dealing with new processes, new tools, all trying to do this from a new working environment and all trying to get our day jobs done. So regardless of where you sit in your organization, you've probably felt some of these challenges. As an IT and security professional, I've also get to live through these through the lens of helping our customers, also internally at Insight. I mean, whether it was getting endpoints into the hands of our clients who traditionally didn't have those remote capable devices, they worked from desktops or PCs, whether it was upgrading existing VPN infrastructures or even implementing new security technologies. The scale and the rate that we had to deploy these technologies was really challenging, and balancing that fine line between connectivity and productivity and also keeping our network secure at the same time was really a challenge. So it's not surprising that in the past year we've seen an increase in cybercrime. If we look at ransomware alone, it's almost $6 trillion cost to the global economy by 2021, and ransom payments more than doubling than what they were in 2019. These individuals looking to target our data, target our businesses, they understand that in this rapid shift that there is opportunity there for them to get in and deploy these kind of attacks in our environment. And when we think of ransomware and what that really means and what it is, there's different ways that we can protect against it. Ultimately, it's all about the data, right? Securing that data, backing up that data, putting it somewhere where they can't get their hands on it. But it also is process, procedure, employee education, so that these attacks can't occur and move laterally through our environments. So we really have to figure out how these attacks are occurring in the first place. It's more than just the data, it's how did they get in, how long have they been in our network environment, and what else could have been compromised from this. So really we need to take more of a multi-layered approach to addressing malware, viruses, things like ransomware. Because of this rapid shift to the remote workforce, our perimeter is changing. We're securing remote user devices, we're securing data centers, clouds, you name it, really connectivity is everywhere, and that perimeter is expanding, the security footprint and threat is expanding, so we need our security solutions to evolve with that. When we start thinking about multi-layered approaches and how we can get visibility and control into every layer of our network, zero trust comes to mind, and it's really kind of a hot topic. You've probably heard it in Gartner and Forrester. All the different security solution providers out there are talking about zero trust, but really what is that? And in its most basic definition, it's just a framework. It's not something you can buy off the shelf and throw into your network environment. It really is a framework. There's no silver bullet. It's a methodology you're putting into your security strategy that just basically states that we're not going to trust any user or any device implicitly on our network. We're going to give them the least amount of access available until they can prove who they are or what they are before we give them access to those sensitive assets that we have within our environment. So as we're thinking about zero trust and the different architectures that support that framework, you really need to keep three things in mind. And the first is being the workforce. That workforce is the endpoint. It's your contractors, employees, vendors, all the devices that they have. Where are they connecting from? How are they connecting? Are they coming in from a corporate-owned device? Is it a BYOD device? These are really all things that we need to consider, or a zero trust architecture should consider for us before we ever provide access to the data and the users in our network. A lot of customers are looking at solutions like multi-factor authentication, which is great for this because it ties the identity of that user by what they know, whether it's a username or a password, and generally that's integrated into an Active Directory or your identity store, but it also ties that to what they have. So is it a corporate-owned device? Is it a laptop? Is it a cell phone? Is it something that can receive a push notification or a text message or a phone call to authorize that user and validate who they are, but also that they have their PC in their possession at the time of that access request? So very critical when we're talking about all the different information systems that we're giving access to is that we tie that identity to that workforce or that endpoint, that user. The next piece we need to focus on is the application itself or the workload. How are those workloads positioned in our environment? Are they in the cloud? Are they in the data center? Are they virtualized physical? Are they sitting under a desk out at a branch location? How do we get visibility into how those processes and workloads and back-end connections are working on those different applications? How are users connecting to those? And at the end of the day, what type of policies do we need to put on top of that to ensure that if this device becomes vulnerable or affected by some kind of virus, that we're able to mitigate that risk quickly? And a lot of technologies have machine learning, artificial intelligence, that can baseline the behavior of these devices, and you can create the policy off of that, and if there is a deviation, we can stop that in its tracks. The final piece that we're going to be talking about is the actual workplace. So think of everything inside your traditional security perimeter. So your wired connections, your wireless, even VPN connectivity to some extent. How are we securing those users that connect to the corporate network, whether it's a laptop, whether it's someone who works in finance, in HR, maybe it's a camera or a IP phone, wireless access point, kiosk, even a infusion pump if you work in the medical space. There's so many devices with the influx of IoT that we need to be able to identify and profile those devices as they come onto our network so we can get that trust. We can validate who they are and then provide them network access. It's really challenging without solutions like a network access control solution that can handle that kind of network connectivity from the edge of your network. We need to understand that all of these solutions that are out there and available to us aren't created equally. So as you're going down the zero trust path and you're looking to secure those three areas, look for solutions that provide that visibility, because without visibility across all three areas, we're not going to be able to create that policy. You won't be able to have that control across your environment. Visibility is key for creating a comprehensive security infrastructure and strategy. The second piece is we need to understand, or the solution that we pick needs to understand, that trust isn't binary. Just because we authenticate a device or a user to a network one time doesn't mean we should continually trust that device. We need to reassess them. We need to figure out if their posture's changed. Have they disabled their firewall? Is their antivirus out of date? Maybe a new user logged into the PC. And if any of that happens, we need to dynamically be able to modify that trust to reduce the vulnerabilities that we're introducing into our network. Another piece that the zero trust technologies have to consider is that the perimeter is everywhere that we're making an access control decision. So whether it's a wired user, a wireless user, VPN connectivity, we need to be able to make that decision based on that identity and that level of trust at that point in our network environment. If it's a BYOD device, a bring your own device rather than a corporate asset, are we able to secure that? Do we need some kind of cloud security controls? Do we need an MDM solution? Tie that with multi-factor authentication. How do we make sure our BYOD users and workforce are secure just like our corporate assets? If and when a virus or malware gets into your environment, because we know there's zero-day threats, we know that signatures can get past firewalls. Once that's in the environment, how do we contain that? How do we make sure that doesn't spread laterally to other users and other systems in our environment and cause things like ransomware to occur, where we're losing that data and having to pay a fee to get our information back from that individual? I want to leave you with the thought that zero trust is that mindset. It's not a set it and forget it strategy. We're continually improving all this dynamic policy, the control, the visibility, having all this automation capability built into our networks, into our security seems like a pipe dream. It seems like it's out there, but really it's available now. The framework is here, the tools are here, and we all need to start moving towards a zero trust adoption strategy. We can't continue to have siloed networking and security approaches like we have in the past. They need to be integrated. We can't live by the axiom, trust but verify, because if we implicitly trust every device in our network environment, that's how these attacks occur. We need to switch that axiom to never trust, always verify. We need to know the identity of those devices before we ever give them access to any of our network resources or critical information systems. When it comes to networking and security, every endpoint on your network should be guilty until proven innocent. If you're looking for more information about network and security solutions, follow us on social media or at insightcdct.com.